A very good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Monday Motivation with Eugene Wood and myself, Sunil Osman. We do this live every single Monday on TikTok between 3:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. Standard South African time. If you've missed any of our topics, you can go check it out on IGTV and YouTube. Look for Influencers A, and you can catch up on some of the topics you may have missed. Eugene, what are we speaking about today?
We are speaking about the differences between friendships and relationships. It's quite a very interesting topic today. So, yeah.
Difference between friendships and relationships. I think before we proceed with this topic, maybe Eugene, you can give us a bit of a definition there for friendships. Let's go for friendships.
Cool. Well, friendships is when you're not really dependent on that person. Like in a friendships, you're not dependent on that person. There's no actual bond. Yes, friends come and go. So that's why we say you're not really dependent on that person. Would you agree, Sunil?
Well, I do agree to an extent. I do agree to an extent because sometimes you do depend on your friends for certain things. But if they're not going to be there, you're not going to not just stop living. You're going to be carrying on, I do think that when we speak about friendships, we need to start speaking about when we call people friends on social media, because sometimes that's just a momentary instant gratification when people are sending comments or likes or chatting to you. It's an instant gratification. Are they really friends? Somebody said something to me very profound many years ago. He said to me, Sunil, you've got so many friends because of the work that you do in the industry. You call them friends, but how many friends do you really have? How many people can you really count on as friends? It's just something to think about, because there are friends and then there are friends, inverted commas. But because today's topic is friendship versus relationships, let's define relationships to start off. So Eugene said that friendships are when you're not dependent on each other, whereas a relationship is more when you are interdependent. You have a commitment between that person or the business. Remember, in these lives, we speak about life, love, and business. So whether it be a marriage, whether it be a business deal, whether it be a relationship with somebody else, there is a commitment between them. So that's a nice little summary of a friendship versus a relationship. Eugene, what do you say?
Yes, no, definitely. In a relationship, you're going to be interdependent on that person. You're going to want to work together, because if you're working apart from each other, then it's not really a relationship. Then it's not even a friendship, and you should move on. So yes, being dependent on that person in that relationship is key, because you know how often they say like a relationship is 50-50. It's not really though. It's 100% at all times, because
Yes.
when your partner's not feeling up to it, you've got to be there. And it's the same thing, vice versa. So yes, friendships not being dependent on each other, relationships being very dependent on each other,
Yeah, no,
sharing,
absolutely.
openness, being there for each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Eugene and I are going to speak about 4 differences between friendships and relationships, and we'll come back with that straight after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Monday Motivation with Eugene Wood and myself, Sunil Osman. Today, we are speaking about the differences between friendships and relationships. And we come back now to speak about 4 differences that Eugene and I have identified. Please feel free to let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. And I will start, Eugene, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
The first difference between a friendship and a relationship is how it is founded, the existence of a friendship versus a relationship. So a friendship is deliberate. I choose to be friends with Eugene. I'm like, yes, Eugene, we can be friends. It's okay. We can go for tequilas together or whatever it may be. So you choose to be friends. Whereas in a relationship, it is sometimes a natural form. It's a deliberate form where You can give examples here, like family. You don't have a choice really on who your family is. Or when you have business colleagues, or when you have a marriage with somebody. And on that point, I'd like to say, yes, you choose to love somebody. You choose every morning to say, I'm going to love this person. Yes, there are emotions involved. So, the first difference between a friendship and a relationship is the existence, how it is founded. What do you have to say, Eugene?
Definitely. And then this brings us to the business aspect of it. It's the same thing. How is that friendship or that relationship founded in business? Is Are you working with this company because there's this friendship that you've built over time? You know that they're going to give you a good deal, everything like that. So there's this friendship, or is it like this relationship that where you're working together with your partner to build something greater? So it's really important to remember that the existence, like some people are going to be there for a short period of time in your friendship circle of your business, because at the end of the day, if they can find another supplier that gives them that option for a better price, they're going to go to that place. So having your friends there that you're going to use, knowing that they could also, they're not going to always be there, but having your friendship circle that you can work with and you get along with, and then actually having a relationship side of your business where you know that you guys are going to dig deep and actually work towards this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that, Eugene. Eugene, what would you say is point number two?
Legal aspects. There's in a friendship, you don't really have legal aspects. You know what I mean? You don't really have that side of things, but in a business point of view, you might have contracts, you might have like all these things put into place that safeguard you from a business aspect, because you're not going to just, oh, let me go and build this business with someone and not have anything in place. So this is really important to remember, that in a business sense there might be legal aspects that you're going to have to take into consideration.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that from a business point of view for sure. But let's speak a bit about love, because when you are afraid, when you are in love with somebody, or when you are in a relationship with somebody, then there is a mutual consideration for each other, which comes down to both friendship and relationship. So there is that distinction, but there is that consideration you've got to give one another at the same time. And when we speak about this consideration, it takes us to point number three, which is the openness that we express in a friendship versus a relationship. Now, this one is very much individual dependent. So it depends on the individual, the kind of relationship or friendship you may have. When you see a friendship, you may have a higher sharing of emotions. For I'm not going to go to my boss if I was working and start crying and telling him about all these things. But there may be some people out there that do that. But there's just more of an expression of emotions and higher sharing of emotions in friendships. Whereas in a relationship, it is it is different, because when you have a contract with a business or something, you're not going to cry about not signing a page, for example. There are high levels of openness and feelings that are felt through a relationship, yes. But when you have something like an employee versus an employer relationship, there's a certain decorum which you have to follow that not all companies are open up to. And this is a problem because there's not enough empathy in companies these days. So, as much as in a relationship, we really do want to be able to share a lot more emotions and feelings. Sometimes people are not comfortable doing that. So, this is a bit of a difficult one to distinguish properly. But there is a distinction between the amount of openness in which you share between a friendship and a relationship. Take the example we spoke about earlier. When you have that instant gratification from a friend on social media, how much are you going to share with them compared to someone you're in a relationship with?
Or someone you've known for 2 or 3 years more. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's the same thing with the business aspect of it. Like, I'm not going to tell a lot of people what I'm thinking business wise, especially people in the same industry as me or anything like that. So that openness isn't as open, but I'm still going to make sure that when I speak to them and I want my deal, like a good deal and stuff, it's because I'm wanting both of us to benefit from this deal. But I
Mm.
might not be as open to sharing as much as I would if I was in a relationship. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Compared to a business relationship. Like obviously, if you're looking at it as there's two of you and you're a partnership working on your own a project together, then yes, the openness between the two of you or the three of you is key to making that business successful.
Yes.
But on the friendship side of things, my suppliers will be yeah, I'll be yeah, sort of thing, and we'll have a good relationship, but they're not necessarily going to be privy to all the information I'm thinking.
Okay. That's good. So point number 3 was the openness in friendships and relationships. Eugene, point number 4.
This brings us to point number 4.
Mm.
And I'm very excited about this one because it's so true. And it's so true in a lot of situations. Yeah. And point number 4 is a win-win. There's always a win-win for someone, or if someone's not winning, someone's losing. So then in that situation, who's the winner, who's the loser? But there's always a win-win situation, okay? So for instance, in a relationship, sacrifices and compromises, you have to be prepared to be able to do this. In a friendship, it's give and take. You know what I mean? Like you can't always just take. You're just going to drain this person, and then you're going to be like, okay, cool, next. And then in business, you can move along. You got to remember that if it's not, they don't have to stay. You don't have to keep buying from, yeah, if you find a better deal just because you like this person and he's your friend and stuff. If you're getting a better deal, move along. Go and find that better deal because in business, it is your business.
Yes.
And so there's got to be a win-win situation for both parties. You know what I mean? Because if there is a win-loss situation, that person that's taking the loss is going to reconsider a lot of things, whether that is in life, love, or business. If
Yes.
there's a loser, that loser will only stay like that for a short period of time.
Yeah. And I mean,
Sunil.
it's something that I spoke about earlier, and I've mentioned it 3 times now in this chat. So maybe it's something privy in my mind, but the instant gratification. So when you have a relationship with somebody or a friendship with somebody, be careful not to just move on immediately like you do maybe in business, because so many people in this society these days do not work on relationships. They just move on immediately to the next best thing instead of concentrating and putting efforts into the actual relationship. And it's a whole other topic altogether, but it comes back to the openness and the feelings that you need to express. Some people don't want to express, so they move on to something very quickly because they're just scared to face the facts. But there has to be a lose win, win win compromise situation in any friendship and any relationship, business,
Mm,
life, love, anything like that as well. So,
mm,
yeah, it's very touchy. And again, it's very individual dependent, as we've mentioned before. But don't just move on because of instant gratification, because that's what it is. Instant gratification is instant and then it disappears.
mm.
Remember that. So let's recap those 4 differences quickly before we go to our next little pause. Point number 1 in the differences between a friendship and relationship is the existence of that friendship and relationship. How is it founded?
Point number 2, legal aspects. You would normally be able to tell if it's a friendship or a business aspect, or how does that, is there legal aspects involved in it?
Yeah, absolutely. Point number 3 is the openness in friendships and relationships when it comes to emotions and feelings.
Point number 4 is the win-win situation. Win-win is if both parties are winning, then it's right and good. If there's a win-lose situation, one of those parties are going to move along. And as Sunil says, with the way society is and that instant gratification, sometimes people aren't prepared to work towards that. So being able to hey, I'm going to fight for what I want in the win-win situation is important.
Absolutely. This is Monday Motivation with Eugene Wood and myself, Sunil Osman. We'll be back with conclusions straight after this. Sunny Motive, written by Sunil Osman, uses and explains motivational quotes to encourage readers of all ages to take bold steps in life, love, and business. Order your copy now by emailing Lauren Moy Publishing on sales@laurenmoypublishing.com. Also available on takealot.com and amazon.com. Welcome back, everybody, to Monday Motivation with Eugene Wood and myself, Sunil Osman. We are speaking about the differences between friendships and relationships. This is the conclusion bit, and I'd like to start the conclusion by saying, plain and simply, do not confuse instant gratification when you have a friendship or a relationship. Do not let instant gratification get the better of you, because that's what it is. It is instant, it'll disappear. Work on those things that you want in a friendship and relationship. We have the power of choice.
Oh, nice. I like that. You have the power of choice. And that's exactly it. You can choose to work at things, or you can choose to be like, well, I'm going to move on, like Sunil says, instant gratifications. Now, the differences between a relationship and a friendship is friendships, yes, you have to work at both of them. But if there is a win-win, then both parties will stay at it and you'll be friends for life. And friends will, if bad things happen, because you know that person so well, you're like, you forgive them, you forget, you move on because it's a built-up friendship. In a relationship, it's a case of you guys are working together as a partnership to improve your situations.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been a nice, quick, lovely topic, a very important topic. We hope it's added value to your thoughts. And next week, we will be having a Q&A. This is where you get an opportunity to mention topics that you'd like for us to speak about, or just anything in general, and you have the opportunity for your topic to become an actual Monday motivation topic. Thank you very much, everybody. Love and light to you. Keep those friendships and relationships strong.
Enjoy the day, guys.